Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here again and back for another crafty video. So, I the other day purchased with some money that some of you gave me for my birthday, so I'm really grateful to you for those people that did give me some money. So with that I purchased this, which I know it looks a bit unassuming, but inside it's a little ink, well, stamp set. Okay, so in here we have a bottle of ink. It does have ink in it. Well, it has something in it. I believe it's ink. There's a bottle of ink in it. It's got another bottle in here which is just empty with the cork pushed in. It also has a little brush. I think that's for applying the ink to the ink pad, which I'll show you in a minute. It has a little stamp here, which is, I think it says, please note. Let's give it a stamp and I'll tell you whether that's what it says. And obviously this is old, and I don't know how old it is because I couldn't find a date on it. Yeah, so please note, it says. Okay. And then it also has another little stamp in here, which is, I think it's a number or a telephone number. It might be a telephone number, I think. I don't know whether that's the right way up, but it's another little stamp. Yeah, telephone 77Y. I don't know how you're going to do that. So it must be old if you've got 77Y, unless that's an internal dial. I don't know. But so like that's what came in the kit. Okay, and then this little bit folds down, and this is the ink pad. Now obviously this ink pad is dry. I know it looks like I've got ink on me, but it's not ink. It's from doing stuff, from inking and creating. So I thought to myself, do you know what, I'd love to recreate that. That bottle's got a slight chip on it, but it's fine. I don't think it all quite goes in properly, but there you go. I thought I'd like to recreate that. So that's the original. So then I thought, well, let's recreate it. And so this is the one that I've made. Okay, and this is the one we're going to make together, because I've sat for the last 3 hours working out, reverse engineering this to make this. That's a very, it's a good facsimile, I would say. So get me with my big words, facsimile, eh? I did work with somebody who used to call it facsimile. So, yeah. So, I've kind of done it in, a similar way to the way that I've done all the other boxes, etc. But this time I did it in blue. And so what we've got in here is we've got some instructions. I used a typewriter to create all of this, including the border, which you can imagine took me forever. And I've got a little fold down thing here, which is to replicate the little ink pad. It's not an ink pad, it's actually a piece of blue fabric from a tea towel. And then in here we have a pretend stamp, because it's only to create the image of. We've got a little bottle in brown, and we have a little bottle of what looks like ink, but well, it is ink. It's actually just some of this this ink, the alcohol ink. So without further ado, let's get on and we'll make one of these. Now obviously I didn't put a little brush in here because it doesn't have to look exactly the same, but I did think it was, I did a fair job there. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make this. I'll show you what I did to make this. Okay, and I'll talk about some ways you can change it up and not have the little fold down bit and create just a little lidded box. So we'll talk about that as we go. So happy to do that? Hopefully you are. So okay, so first of all I'm going to get in my templates. Okay, so I'll get the box that I made. So why have I got 2 boxes? That's because on the original box it has a little insert here, okay, that's bent round, which isn't particularly secure. So I kind of, although I reversed engineered it, I kind of improved it as well. So what I've done is I've put another little box that sits inside the original box, and then that creates this little gap here. Okay, so that's what this one is. So what we have here is, we'll turn it round. So this is the base, and this is the lid, and then this is the insert that goes inside. Okay, and we're going to go through how you make this. Now, obviously, at this time I hadn't changed the blade on my cutter. I've changed it, but I'm, you know what I'm not happy about, how terrible the Fiskars ones are at the minute. So, what we're going to do is going to make it out of red card this time, just for a little bit of a changey uppy. So, what you need to do is you need to, first of all, get your piece of card to the right size. So, if you hear me make a funny noise, it's because I'm trying to prevent myself from coughing, because I'm still coughing. So I've got some water so that I can kind of lubricate as we go. So your piece of card, to make it the same size as mine, your piece of card needs to be 11 by 9/16. I know it sounds very odd, but I wanted to do it in inches because you guys usually, a lot of you use inches out there, and I couldn't do the two conversions, otherwise I would have had to make two different styles of boxes. So we're going to make it inches. Okay, so we're going to go 11 and 9/8. Okay, so that is 8. Not 9/8, because you can't get 9/8. 9/16. Okay, so that is 8/16. So it's one of those little notches over, and I know it seems like such a tiny measurement, and you're probably thinking to yourself, why on earth am I doing that? Well, it's all been engineered so that it fits together nicely. So 11 and 9/16, Dave, not 9/8, because that would be impossible. Okay. It's going to be one of them days. So then you're going to cut it, okay, and just take off the excess, okay, and then you're going to turn it. And the only reason why I turned it round before is this has been pulled out of the book, and it's got a slightly gummed edge on that edge, and that's the bit I wanted to cut off. So, and then you're going to turn it round, and now you're going to do again, this time you're going to do 6 and 9/16. So that's the 6, and that's the 9/16. Okay, cool. Brilliant. So, I'm just going to move that out of the way. So now we've got our piece of card. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some scoring. But first of all, what I'm going to do, and this is you're going to think, what on earth is he doing? But you just bear with me and you'll understand. I am just going to cut the smallest bit off that corner. And that just gives me an orientation reference point. Rather than putting marks on it with pencil and stuff and you forget to rub it out, I'm just doing this for the time being. It works for me. If you want to use pencil and you want to write something on it or whatever, entirely up to you. Okay, now I'm going to use my scoreboard. Now, I've engineered this so that you don't have to have one of these fancy schmancy scoreboards that has different gauges either side. I've engineered this so that anybody can do it with a scoreboard. Okay, so what you first of all need to do is you need to have it so that it is lengthways, so you're in landscape, yeah, so you need to have your notch on this side, so at the top left hand corner. Okay, so first of all what you're going to do is you're going to score at 1.5. Now I keep scoring at the wrong line because I've got a pencil mark there from another project, and you won't believe how many times I've had to make this in order to get it right where I've scored on the wrong line. So anyway, you're going to score at 1.5. Okay, first of all, so just make sure you've got a line in. Okay, Then you're going to score at 5. Okay, so that's the 5 there. 5. Okay, and then you're going to score at 6.5. 6.5. I'm just going to get rid of those other pencil marks because I don't want to cause any confusion for myself. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now once you've done that, what you need to do is you need to turn your card 180 degrees. So you're going to turn it right the way around like that, and now you're going to have your snipped corner is going to be at the bottom right. Okay, so it was top left, bottom right. Okay, I get my left and right mixed up all the time. Dyslexic, so that's one of the things I have to go. Ow, yeah. Okay, so then, so we've turned it around 90 degrees. We're going to do a score at 1.5. Okay, just make sure you don't flip the page, the paper upside. You know, don't flip it over and that. So then all your creases are on the same line because they're all going to fold in the same way. Okay, so once you've done that, what you need to do is you need to turn this 90 degrees. Okay, so you're turning 90 degrees counterclockwise, so that now you have what we would call it anti-clockwise, but I've started using counterclockwise because I know that, you know, Americans call it counterclockwise. Anyway, so now we've got our snip at the top right hand corner. Okay, so this time what you need to do is you need to score at the 1.5, but we're not going to go all the way down. Okay, so we're going to go down to the third score line, so that's 1, 2, 3, and you're going to stop. Yeah, and then you're going to score at 5 to the same place, and that's going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to stop. Okay, so then this is the bit where it gets a little bit more convoluted, and that's simply because I'm not doing it so that you're using the base and the lid things, because if you've only got one style scoreboard, if you've only got one that doesn't have all of the fancy dancy fandle dangle hoodle foodle smelly poodle, I don't know, shut up Dave. Anyway, so now we're going to turn it 180 degrees. Okay, so that now the snip is at the bottom left hand corner. Okay, and this is where you will need an extra piece of equipment. Okay, very expensive this. You need a cocktail stick. Okay, and you're going to use a cocktail stick like a shim, and you're going to put it right up against the edge of your scoreboard, because this is about a 1/16 of an inch, and that's what you want. So whereas Tracy on Tracy Fox's video, she put a line using a marker pen because she wanted to shim it across to make it an 1/8 of an inch, we need to make it only a 1/16 of an inch. So rather than putting a line in, I'm just using a cocktail stick, or you could use a couple if you're thinking, you know, oh, it's all going to go out askew. So you could use a couple like this, but I'm happy to use one, so I'll show you what to do. So put your cocktail stick, I know they're sometimes called toothpicks, but in the UK they're called cocktail sticks usually. So you put it in there, and then what you just need to do is just visualize, is that space there the same as that space there? Pretty much, that's fine. Okay, now what you're going to do is at the 1.5 line, with you holding your shim in place, you're just going to score down to the second line this time. So at the 1.5 down to the second line, and you'll see that way then these two lines do not marry up. Now you're going to flip it round and you're going to turn it 90 degrees. This time now you've with my notch, if you've decided not to use a notch, you won't have a notch. But with your notch, if you have got one, at the top right hand corner. Okay, and this time you're going to have to go up the scoreboard, so you're going to find your 1.5 mark at the bottom and just put a thing in there, and then you can just go back down again and go, hang on a minute, is that 1.5? Yep, it is. So you just got to pray that, you know, Those unicorns are on your side. Hope you haven't upset them. And then you're going to score all the way up to the second line again. So 1, 2. Okay, again, it's just slightly out, and that's great, because then that means then we've got a lid. Okay, so this is the base and this is the lid. Okay, now what we're going to do is going to take the scoreboard out of the shop for a few minutes. Hopefully you've got this and you're not thinking, oh, is he talking in hieroglyphics? Yeah, I could be. Although if you saw my workings out, you'd have thought I was talking in hieroglyphics. So I've done more maths than I did at school. So now all you want to do is crease in all of those lines, and you don't have to tap the table when you do it. That's just me. It says you have to crease in all those lines, and then can't find his score tool. So there it is. Okay, so just going to, so remember, you can't fold straight across here because these aren't the same, that they don't marry up. So do these bits first. Fold it over, score it, fold it over, score it. So everything on the, you're looking at it portrait style, everything horizontally across the portrait is in the same place, so you can score those lines all the way across. Okay, so then when it comes to folding these other bits, don't worry about those just yet. I want you to cut them. I want you to cut this up first. So what you're going to do for me is you are now going to just cut along these score lines from the sides. Okay, I don't want you using it portrait style. I want you to have it horizontally, and I want you to cut up to that first score line, all the way along the edges to create all of those tabs. On this one, so when you come to this one where we've got a staggered fold score line, I want you to cut to the second one. So the one that's just slightly further in, I want you to cut up to there. Okay, but then obviously then just go back to cutting to the score line on the others, and then you're going to turn it around and do the same on the other side. I'm guiding it with my finger underneath, but I nearly cut the end of my finger off then. So again, this one is where you've got a staggered line, so you're going to go to the second of the two score lines. Okay, and then just to the score line on all of these now. Okay, so this is what we have now. This is the lid side and this is the base. Okay, now that we've got those in place, you can now put those score lines in that you had, that you couldn't do before, sorry, because the score lines don't quite marry up, and they're not meant to, so don't panic about it, and that was the whole point of doing it like that. Just score those in. Now, I was going to make this with a file folder, but I thought, you know what, not everybody has file folders, and I don't want people to be very literal about it. I'm quite a literal person, so myself, so I wanted to think for those people who were thinking literally, and if you're not a literal person, you can make it with whatever you like. So okay, so this is just, you know, cardboard. Okay, so this is 300 GSM, I believe. Okay, so remember, this corner here is your base. So this part, the bit where you snipped a corner out, is your base. Okay, and this is your lid. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to put in an additional score on the lid. Okay, and what that is you're going to get this, and you're just going to hold that up to the edge, that top, sorry, that just the lid. You're not doing the base bit, don't worry about the base bit. And you're going to score this at the well, what are we on? 3/4 of an inch mark. Okay, so I've got a line just here which just indicates that that is my 3/4 of an inch mark. So that's half, and that's half of a half, so that's 3/4 of an inch. And you're just going to put Dave, you have to put it the right way up. Let's put it that way. And you're just going to put a score line in there, and you're just going to come down to that. So you're going to go just like you did with the lid. The scoring of the scoring of the lid. You're just going to come down to the second of where the fold would be, but now you've got a cut. So not the first cut, but the second cut. Okay, at 1/4 of an inch. Then you're going to turn it, and you're going to put that in again, the same 1/4 of an inch. Just put a line in there, and then you're going to turn it again, and you're going to put this here. And remember, you're only going to go from this line, and you're going to go down on that 1/4 of an inch line. Okay, now we can take that away. So you're done for the scoreboard for this bit. You'll need it again for the insert, but we'll put that away for now. Okay, so again, this bit is your lid and this is your base, because remember we've got a snip out of here, and that's how we remember what the base is. Okay, so this is the last tab I'm going to cut, because that way then that helps me to remember this is my base. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to shape our tabs. Okay, so these ones at the bottom here, we're going to cut off. What you're thinking, what on earth's that for? Why are we going to cut it off? So this is my template. These are the two that we're going to cut off. Remember, I'm going to leave this one to the last, so remember it's the base. So we're going to cut those off, because that's the bit that forms your little flip out bit at the bottom. Okay. Now, if you were making this as just an openy box, and this bit is joined, okay, you wouldn't cut them off. Okay. If you want to make that style of box, what you're going to do is you're just going to cut your tabs down a little bit shorter and shape them. Okay. And then what that'll do is they will fold in, and they'll glue, and those bits will fold in and they'll glue, and then you'll have a lidded box. Okay, but because we're making this ink thing, I'm going to make it this way. Okay, so we're not causing too much confusion. You know, if anybody's struggling and they think, oh, I'd like to make one of the lidded ones but without the flap at the front, and you're struggling, then just let me know. Put something in the comments, and if I get enough people asking, I'll certainly do a video of that. Okay, but I am going to be doing quite a few more boxy things as we go. So I don't want to be a one-trick pony, but I've got a few ideas for other things. So a lot of reverse engineering going on. So remember, this is the same orientation. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one till the last, but I'm going to cut this one off. So I'm going to flip it back over so that I can see it with the score lines. So the score lines are being pushed up this way, so it's the opposite way around to the way I scored it. And I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, so that's going to cut off. I'm going to cut that one off as well, but I'll come back to it. This one, this tab, so this is a side, so you leave that. This is a tab, so you just want to cut it to roughly where that score line is that you've just scored on the lid. Okay, and then you just want to shape it. Don't worry about it not being exactly the same level as that score line. You're not going to see it. It's just going to be a tab to hold the box together. Okay, then this is your lid, and I'll come back to that in a minute because it's slightly different. So we're going to turn it round again. We're working on the base. Okay, we're going to cut that down, that tab down. Okay, and then we're going to just shape that, and the shaping just stops all the bulk in the corners, and it stops the mechanism from stopping working, etc. And then you just want to make sure that the sides on your base are nice and straight, which they are. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave that one on. Remember, that's my last tab. That tells me which is the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to the lid. Okay, and this time what you're going to do is you're just going to shape up to that first fold, okay, on the side. Okay, and what that's going to do is that's going to create the lid here, and it's going to create this bit that folds in to give it a more sturdy lid. So we're just going to cut those off down to that first score line, like I say. Yeah, and we'll turn that round, and we're going to do the same on the other side, down to the first score line, down to the first score line. Okay, they don't have to be exactly the same, you know, amounts that you've cut out. You're just shaping it at the moment. Okay, and remember how we did the last box where we had a step down? We're going to do the same again, but I'm going to show you how to do it first of all. Okay, so what we want is we want to create a tab here. So what we're going to do is on the very, so holding this with the, this is your lid facing towards you now, with your cut off corner should be on at the top right hand side if you've got your folds facing up. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to cut at the very top down to your first score line. Okay, I'm going to do the same again on the other side, because we're just going to mirror image everything that we do here. Sorry, that's not very straight, so let me just do that again. Okay, so once you've done that, what you're going to do is you're then going to take this and you're going to cut down all the way. So you're just going to cut this tab, not this bit, just this very top bit. So past your first score line and right through to the cut on the other side, and you're going to cut that off. Okay, I'm going to do that again. So this side, get that bit out of the way. You can have steady hands, that's entirely up to you. And then we're going to go all the way through, yeah, cross the first cut score line through to the cut. Yeah, okay, so then what we've got is a shorter things here. Then you're just going to turn it round, so you've got 90 degrees. Okay, so with the chamfered bit to the bottom right hand side, and we're just going to cut on that score line right the way through to that cut. Now we're going to flip it around the other way, and now our chamfered bit is the top left hand side, and we're just going to cut on that second score line, sorry, on that score line right the way through and cut that off. So now again we've got that step that we had. Okay, then these are tabs for securing, so these just need to be shaped. So either side just need to be shaped like that, and you're going to turn it round and you're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so then you just want to pick out any bits that are left in. Oh, nope, no bits are left in. Okay, so just clear this up. So remember, this flap is going to come out, and now is the time to do it. So we're going to turn it around and we're just going to cut that off completely. We don't need it now. We've got all of our orientation. There's only one way to put this together now. Okay, and that is that this is the base, and the one with the extra score line on the flaps is the lid. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to score in those lines, those score lines that we created. Okay, that's it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to create a little box by bending in those flaps. They're going to go into here, and they're going to join here. We're not going to worry about this second one. Let me just bend those out so they're easier for you to see. Okay, you don't need to bend it out. I'm just doing it so that you can see. And we're just going to make that a right angle on this corner. Okay, so just going to put a little bit of glue on. Can you see how easily my glue is flowing? Do you know what I've done? I've actually cleaned the nib. I know, get me being all like snazzy and clean. So all you need to do is pinch it together with your fingers. Yeah, there. Okay, turn it round, and you're going to do the same on this side. Smooth that out so it doesn't all squeeze out when I pinch it together. Again, pinch it together, make a nice right angle. There we go. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to fold these bits in. So these are all going to fold in now, but they fold down. Okay, like that. Okay, so we're going to fold those either side first. Because of that joint, because of that bit where they join in, you might have to just fold it round, because you've just got an extra bit of bulk there where you've created that tab, but don't worry about it. So I'm just going to put some glue on this bit. I'm going to fold that down. Remember, we're creating it to look old, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Please don't panic about it. If you think, oh, it doesn't look right, it feels a bit bulky or whatever, it's fine. It is absolutely fine. And again, we're just going to do the same on this bit here. Glue this bit down. I love it now my glue's flowing. So again, just pinching that through, just putting your nail over that crease, that's fine. Okay, and then the last bit is we're just going to just shape this one. Sorry, I meant to shape this before, but we're just going to shape this one like that, and we're going to glue that in. Sorry, should have done that before, that's my fault. Okay. But it just shows you we all make mistakes. So fold that bit in, there we go. And that's your lidded bit. Okay. Right, now we've turn it round again, so we've got the base at the bottom, so the lid is back at the top and the base is at the bottom. So we've created the lid essentially, we've got the lid in the right place now. Okay, so now what we need to do is create the bottom bit, okay? So one of the things to do is just to make sure that lid bit bends and flexes and moves, otherwise it'll keep springing open. Okay, so now the back tabs we're going to do both sides at the same time. Just makes it easier to put it together. So you're going to put those back tabs in place, you're going to fold them in, and you're just going to marry that line up so that you get a nice 90-degree fold, and then 90-degree corner, and then you're going to do the same on this side. You get a nice 90-degree corner on this side. Okay, so there we go. So that's our flip down full front bit. Remember, we're not gonna. Sorry, I'm just going to straighten that bit up there. We're not going to worry about this being secured, because we've got a flip down bit for our ink thing. Now if you have decided to make a proper box and you've left your tabs on, this is the bit where you're going to glue those tabs and you fold them up and you glue it in, and then you'll end up with a nice lidded box. Okay, but we've got this instead, okay, which is our little ink thing. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make the insert in there. So again, come back to some card. I've got exactly the same colour card as I had before. I'm going to put my pin in my glue, because now I've cleaned out that nozzle, I want it to stay nice and easy to use. Okay, on the smooth edge. This time your piece of card needs to be 6 7/16. 6 7/16. So 6 7/16. Yep, that way. Get rid of the scrap paper out of the way. Okay, turn it round 90 degrees, and then you're going to make the other way 5 7/8 this time, not 7/16, 5 7/8. So that way is 6 7/16, but this time it's 5 7/8. So that's 5 and 7/8. Completely lost what I'm doing now. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, so 5. There you go. There. 7/8. Oh dear. So it's not square. You don't expect it to be square. It's wrong if it's not square. If it is square, sorry, because otherwise it's just going to sit in there and create another box inside. Okay, so now we're going to get our scoreboard out, and we are going to score at 1.5 inches. Score 1.5 inches, and turn it around 90 degrees and score 1.5 inches. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I thought I heard somebody at the door. I am expecting an Amazon delivery, but I'm not quite sure whether it was. Anyway, 1.5. So we just turned it round 90 degrees each way, and you've got 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Okay, pop that down. Okay, so we're making this. Okay. And now what we need to do is we just need to put in all of those fold lines. You do not have to worry about them not lining up or anything. These all line up nicely. So put in all of those score lines. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to create our little tabs. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go cut up. So I'm having it so that the reason I'm doing it this way is, if you've noticed the tab here, so I want these tabs to be on this side this time, so they're not creating bulk there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about it. Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to cut up. So having it with because it's not square, having it with lengthways going horizontally across. So you've got it again in landscape. And you're going to cut up to that score line, and again to that one, turn it round 180, and again up to that first score line, and again there. Okay, so these are tabs, remember, so they can be cut down to about halfway. Don't have to be accurate, they're going on the inside. If you want to make them accurate, that's absolutely fine. You do that. But for me, I'm not worried about it. Okay, and now because we know that they're tabs, we've cut them short, we can just shape them. Margot will be absolutely over the moon with these boxes. Obviously. Margot's not here at the moment, she's working. She's working 9 to 5. It's a way to make a living, apparently. It's all getting by and it's all taking and they give it. Shh. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. It's all getting by. It's all taking and no giving. Yeah, shut up, Dave. Okay, so now we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to fold in those little tabs like that. And we are going to just put it together. I'm going to sink it in there. And we're going to go, please fit, like that. And it should all fit in there nicely, which it do. It do. Okay, there is no puckering or gaping, okay. The one thing you might find, I'll be very honest with you, is you might find it sits just slightly above that line. And that's not going to worry me, but if it does worry you, what you would need to do is just take it out. I'll do it for you guys, because like I know there'll be people out there that are going to be worried about this. So rather than me giving you really very complicated measurements, I just made it as simple as I possibly could. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take the very smallest edge off all of the sides. You just need to make sure that they're pretty similar sort of size that you take it off. And it is the smallest of measurements going on here. ear with a capital E rather than here with a capital H. There we go. Cool. So, and now what you're going to do? We're going to stick it together. My voice is getting hoarse. Can you hear? I'm a little horse. Nay, I don't like horses. So I like donkeys, but I'm scared of horses. They're big and they're unpredictable. They're bigger than I am. Anything bigger than me, it's like, you know, although giraffes, like, you know, there's nobody's going to be terrified of a giraffe. Well, there might be. You might have giraffophobia. I don't know whether there's such a thing or whether I'm just making it up. Oh, shut up, Dave. Giraffe do. Do you have to? Giraffe do. Never mind. Making my own jokes. You crack on. Okay. And then you're just going to fold that in. You're going to do the same on those corners. So I'm using art glitter glue. You use what you want to use. I just like art glitter glue because I find it grabs very quickly. Like an instant grab. There we go. So there we go. And that is going to go in there. Okay. You might find it'll need a little bit of a jiggery pokery to get it in, and that's simply because you've got a tab here. You've got these tabs here which have like impact on the squeezability of there. Okay, but instead of worrying about it, what we're going to do is we're just going to glue it all in, and then we won't have to worry about it then. So we're just going to glue all the way around 3 sides. You want the 2 shortest sides, yeah, and the bottom and the back, and then you want the base. You don't want one of them done, because remember that's going to be the front wall of the little ink compartment. Okay, so that's going to go in there. That's all glued in there. Just pinch it and hold it. It's kind of gaping. Put a little bit in there. It's just simply because you've been talking, Dave, whilst doing stuff. Get on with it. Okay, so there we go. So there we go. That's our little flip bit. Close it up, and it should stay together. So let's stay together, loving you forever. Oh, shh, hush now, Dave. Okay, so I'll show you what I did to make the ink pad. Okay, but I'm not expecting you to do exactly the same. You might not want to, might not want to go down this route, but I literally took some scrap card. Okay, so I've got some scrap card here. We've got 2.5 by 1, so we're going to make it 3.5 by 2. There you go. Let's go 3.5, Dave. Let's do that one first, because that's the wider one. And turn it round, and you go 2. Okay, took that. And those are all waste bits. Okay, so then what I did was put it on my scoreboard. I'm going to use my little scoreboard again because it's here and I can. Okay, because this is a smaller thing, I used the other end, the more pointy end. This is more rounded, this is more pointy. And what I did was I scored a line at 1/4 inch and then 1/2 inch and turned it round, and then we did 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Okay, and that's all I did. And then I created a little box by snipping all the way through the 2 to there, all the way through the 2 to there, all the way through the 2 to there, and all the way through the 2 to there. Okay, then I snipped these bits off, just like when we made the lid part of the box, because you know we've got that extra score line, so there we go, all the way down there, there, I'm just not doing this so that you can really follow me, just so that you can see what I did. All the way down, and okay, so you've got like steps on each of the corners. Yeah, so that's how you know that you've made a nice tab. And then what I did was I just folded it all in. Oh look, I've just cut that. It's almost perfectly centered. You're not going to see it, so just put all of those score lines in, and then I lifted in those tabs. I didn't worry about shaping them too much because they're so tiny you're not really going to see them. And then I just glued all of those tabs. And then I just glued it up and held it in. Okay, and that's really basically how I made the kind of pad. And then all I did was I covered it with some fabric to make it look like an ink pad. Because you know me, I have to go for the complete authenticity of it. It's a nightmare. Trust me, it's a nightmare living with me. And then all I did was I just cut these corners off at an angle, these little tab bits. I can't imagine anybody's going to want to go to the great pains like I did to create this, but if you do, you know what I did. Except for that hasn't glued down, so I'm going to have to glue that again. Corner off. Just glue that as well. But you know, if you got another way of doing it, then do it your way. But that creates that little box then, and all I did was I took some. This is a piece of tea towel. You can tell I just chomped a piece of the corner out. So I'm just going to do exactly the same. Just chomp a bit out. Hopefully it's big enough. And then what I did was I lay it on. Okay, lay it on. Then glued the top bit. Stuck that down on there, like so. And press it down. Then I glued my sides. All of my sides. Now, if you've got a better way to cover a box, you do your thing. But I wasn't looking for the authenticity of it, I was going for the speed. Okay, so those bits are on either side, those bits are on either end, and then all I did was I pinched it in the corner. To hopefully get it to glue down, and then I just snipped those corners off. And just snipped the rest of it down so it wasn't really bulky. I liked this because it was blue and it looked like indigo ink. So we're going to stick that on those tabs. Didn't use any special glue because it's not necessarily going to be really secure, so any bulk that you've got, just snip it off. That way then it stops it from not wanting to stick. and then what I did was I just stuck that in there like that. So that's what I did. That's how I made that bit. So just in case you wanted to know. Okay. So, and if you wanted to know, if you didn't want to know, and now you know, you're thinking, what did I watch that for? I don't know. It's just, you just did. Okay, so then what I did was I just tried to make it a bit more authentic. So what I took was, I took a couple of bottles. So I've got these glass bottles. I've got a brown one, and I've got some of these clear ones. I don't know, does that fit in there? Might use that one this time. And I just took some of my alcohol ink and I put some of this in a bottle. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way with alcohol ink. And then I took the cork and I just dabbed a few drops on it, and I kind of just let it mingle. Smooth it around a little bit. Press it in, and it'll start to seep anyway. Okay, and then what you do with the ink is, like, it doesn't permanently stain the bottle, but you can get it to, like, stain it for the time being. I mean, like, every time you take it out, it'll move around anyway. So I love blue bottles, though. I've always been drawn to blue bottles. I know, I mean, they denote poison, but take from that what you will. But I've always liked they're so rare as well, blue bottles. Well, the flies aren't. There you go. So I'll just kind of let that mingle. Okay. And, you know, you can go kind of down the more authentic route, and you can put a little bit on the top, like it looks like it's been, somebody's got inky fingers when they've been using it. Okay, I thought the brown bottle looked, you know, it could be like the stuff that gets the ink out once you've got it all over the place. Okay, and then what I did was I did my crazy thing, a crazy little thing called, the crazy thing of just sanding down all my hard work, just to batter it a bit more. You know, I'm not looking for any kind of evenness. I'm quite happy for it to be uneven and broken looking. I like corners to be a bit bashed. And same with you know, the edges of corners. Just got to be mindful that this is going to make me cough. Like all of the joins and things, I like to have that crazy floofy feel to it. I say crazy, it's not crazy, that genuine, not, I don't know how genuine and crazy got mixed up in my world, so don't ask me. It happens. It just, you know, you just have to accept it, really. So. Just make it all, especially if you can see cut lines. I like to kind of shave those off because that looks a bit more authentic that way. Same on here. It's really difficult to hold, that's the only thing. Yeah, I'm going to try and make some other boxes for people. I know that people have enjoyed the boxes, and I enjoy doing that bit of construction-y stuff. So, you know, once you know how to make a box, you can scale it up or scale it down and use it for making Christmas, you know, boxes and things like that. So, loads of repurposing you can do with once you know how to make a box. like that broken surface texture that it gets from it. I mean, like, especially if you're using a file folder. This is also good. This is just construction card, so there's, you know something, I really like it. I like the authenticity of it, but I also don't like it because I don't like the feel of it. So it's very, very bizarre. So whenever I'm doing this kind of sanding, I just put it, I kind of put it together how it would be. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pinch those sides in so that doesn't keep tucking itself in, and then sand it closed, because that's how it would wear more. Okay, once you've got all that, kind of dust it off and get rid of all of the bits. Like if I sneeze, you'll know why. Okay, so and then I just use some ink to make it look authentic. So again, with the lid closed, then you get that. You know, don't worry if it colour goes on unevenly. You know, that box has been worn unevenly at the end of the day, hasn't it? So I like the patchy, mottly kind of look. And also when you add in colour, it will change colour a bit, so don't worry about that. Again, it all makes it look super gorgeous and delicious. Super gorgeous and delicious. So hopefully that's what my tea is going to be tonight, although I'm on my own tonight, so it might be whatever it is. Whatever I can be bothered to do after I've done this. So. Just inking all over it. Don't ever forget the bottom. Well, try not to forget the bottom anyway. To a certain extent, I think the bottom gets more dirty because it's been on the desk, but you know, you do you, so. And you can be as uneven as you like. I always feel like the Prime Minister will get his or her what is it that they get delivered in the isn't the budget that comes in the, well, in the UK you get the budget is in a red suitcase, but I don't think it's a suitcase. I think it's a red case, like an attaché case. Dave, get posh, get with it. Right, just on those corners. Edges again, just on those edges, and I really don't mind it having less colour on the inside, so less you know, markings on the inside. Obviously, you know, put a bit on, otherwise it looks a bit new, looks a bit staged. But I kind of like that kind of tide line that you get. And I don't like to do the boxes, I don't like to colour them before I put them together, because I like to colour them where I think the colour would go. Whereas if you colour it beforehand, you don't know really where what part of the box is going to be what. So on the inside of the box, I'm going to colour it with some brown, you know, dirt. I'm going to put some dirt on it. I'm not going to put a label in the top of the lid this time, just simply because nobody wants to see me type that. It made me feel nauseous doing it myself. So, and then what I did was I used some of the, this is marinated mariner, chided mariner even, and all I did was I just put a few bits on some of the edges, because it's going to have got inky in its time. It's carrying ink, let's face it. So especially on the insides do tend to get more inky because they've got the ink on them. So you can, you can do what you want to do, and like, if you don't like it, you think, oh Dave, you've gone a bit over the top on that, then you do you. But I'm going for my random thing. A bit on the outside, because of course you're going to have inky fingers when you've been using this. So there we go. So that's that. And then what I did was, just for a bit of authenticity, again, you know me and my authenticity, sorry, take the red bits off it, and then I just put that, dabbed that into there, and just made sure I got some ink on it before I did anything else, and then I just lifted that up and I just stamped that on there. So it's the same shape and the same pattern like that, because we're going to stick that in there, and that's probably going to have happened over time of it being closed up. Obviously you want to make it a bit more smudgy, because it'll have smudged over time. It won't have gone back in exactly the same place every time, but go. Okay, so then what the last thing to do, well, not last thing, but one of the last things to do is hopefully get some glue out of your bottle, because you left the lid off, Dave. Serves you right. Do that, pop that in there, glue it down. Obviously you can't push it down because it's hollow and it will collapse. Right, do that. That's our little blue bottle. That in there, that in there. And the only thing I don't have this time is I don't have a little stampy thing. I did see if that would glue together. It does. So all you need to do is just make a little base. It's all about the base. No treble, apparently. Make a little base for this, he says, with a kind of a cutting thing. There you go, you can see what I made last time. So I'm going to just cut it about there, and then cut it at about there. Same again. Same again. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to join them together, because it doesn't have to have a stamp thing on it. If you want to stick a rubber stamp on it, then do that. That's absolutely fine. Just going to stick these together to make it look like wood. Like you would, wouldn't you? Oh. This is when you realise, hey, I just thought, I bet that's not straight. No, that one wasn't straight. Let's cut that there. Oh, if you can hear my stomach, I am so sorry. My stomach is rumbling so loud. So loud. Okay, let's use 3-in-1 for that purpose. This is the executive kit, obviously, because it comes with a. You could ink this. You could definitely ink this. Let's just let that dribble down for a few minutes before I get frustrated with it. Okay, so let's ink this. Make this look a bit less new. And this is the bit where I go, oh Dave, you should have covered your fingers up. Yeah, you should. Did you? No. Will you do next time? No, probably not. Will you live and learn? No. Don't be daft. Have we met? Honestly, I don't think I've got any meetings tomorrow, but if I have, well, you know, it's just an added talking point. It's a feature. Don't worry about it. No, that's not what we decided was going to be the best thing. This is what we decided was the best thing. I say we, I mean me. Put that on there. Now obviously that's going to take a while to dry, so I won't force the issue. He says it won't force the issue. So we've made a little, oh see, look. I won't force the issue, but I will. No, Dave. Not that, Dave. Down, Dave. Good boy, Dave. Who's a good boy? There we go. Oh dear. No idea where the pin is. And there's another cleaning thing I'm going to have to do then. Okay, so that's what we've made. We could put some things on it. Let's move this out of the way. Go. So that's the bit that's going to go on the outside of the box. Maybe have it like that this time. Okay, we're going to have this. Make it, sorry, wet it, because like I know that you're thinking, what? Ugh, that's disgusting, Dave. But I'm just trying to make it look a bit smudged, and also it means the ink goes on a different way. Should have done that before I put it on, but never mind. Stick that on there, and then of course we're going to have a seal because I have to. So where it says Juliet, I'm just going to cover that up by sticking that on it. Put that on there. And again, we're going to just stick that down across the front, all the way down and round. There we go. And we're going to just give it a bit of a do it with the back of my blade and make it there we go. I'll just break it up. Catch the end of there. Catch the end of there. we go. That's it. So that's our little stamp that we're going to stick in there. That way around, that way, and then that between the two, just like that. And there we go. So another box well done. So another thing that you might want to give a go of. You might, like I say, you could turn it, if you don't cut the flaps off at the front, you can definitely turn it into a little gift box if you wanted to, or you can turn it into some other kind of storage box. But there we go. So that's my inspiration. Yeah. And then that's the prototype I made, and then this is the one I've just made with you on camera. So there you go. I hope you give that a go. Dead easy, honestly. Just follow the instructions. It's dead easy. Once you've made one, you'll be like making loads of them. Trust me. So anyway, my name is Dash of Dave. Don't forget, I love you all without exception till you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Thanks for those people that have recently subscribed. Thanks to all of my subscribers, even if you haven't recently subscribed. If you haven't already subscribe. It really does genuinely help all of us on YouTube. Just helps us grow and do better and make more videos, etc. And not want to give up. All right then, you all take care. Don't forget, love you all without exception till you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. I'll see you all soon, folks. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of love, lots of hugs. Mwah, mwah. Kisses from Seth and kisses from Margot, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.